Elena Rivera's plane touched down in Ardenley, just as the late afternoon sun dipped behind snow-capped mountains, casting a golden glow over the quaint town below. She tugged her scarf tighter around her neck, the crisp winter air biting at her cheeks, and glanced out the window at the winding cobblestone streets lined with twinkling lights. Festive wreaths adorned every door, and the scent of baked goods and spiced cider wafted through the air, instantly warming her spirits. With a mix of excitement and nerves, Elena grabbed her luggage and made her way through the small airport. The driver sent by the palace, a distinguished man with a crisp uniform and a polite bow, greeted her. "Welcome to Ardenley, Miss Rivera. The castle awaits you." Elena gave a polite nod, trying to keep her cool, but inside, her heart raced. As the car wound through the town, Elena's eyes darted from one magical scene to the next. Children laughing as they built snowmen in the town square, market stalls glowing with lanterns and brimming with handcrafted ornaments, and horse-drawn carriages decorated with garlands trotting along the streets. Everything looked like it had been lifted straight from a Christmas card. She felt a flutter of awe and disbelief. She'd never imagined a place so enchanting existed outside of fairy tales. Finally, the castle came into view. Its towering spires were dusted with snow, and warm light spilled from the windows, illuminating the festive banners hanging from the battlements. Elena's breath caught in her throat. The sheer grandeur of it, stone walls, intricate carvings, and a grand staircase leading up to the main entrance, was unlike anything she had ever seen. For a moment, she felt out of place, wondering if she was really meant to step foot in such a regal setting. The driver helped her with her luggage and led her through the massive oak doors into a foyer that smelled faintly of pine and burning logs. Glittering chandeliers reflected off polished marble floors, and a towering Christmas tree stood proudly in the center, adorned with golden ribbons and delicate ornaments. Elena's eyes sparkled, and a smile tugged at her lips, despite the nerves fluttering in her stomach. "Miss Rivera, someone will be along shortly to escort you to your quarters," the driver said, bowing slightly. Elena nodded, still taking in the scene. As she wandered toward the grand staircase, she caught a glimpse of a figure in the balcony above, a tall man dressed in formal attire, surveying the hall. Their eyes met for just a brief moment before he looked away, and Elena felt a strange, inexplicable pull in her chest. She shook her head, brushing it off. Probably just a palace staff member, she told herself. Settling into her room, Elena unpacked her essentials, the soft winter light streaming through the tall windows, illuminating the delicate snowflakes clinging to the glass. She placed her event planner notebook on the desk and began jotting ideas for the gala, but her mind kept wandering back to the castle itself. Its hidden corners, the echo of laughter in the halls, and the faint hint of magic that seemed to linger in the air. As night fell, Elena wrapped herself in a warm blanket, looking out at the castle courtyard below, where lanterns twinkled like stars on earth. For the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of wonder she hadn't felt since childhood. Little did she know, this kingdom of snow and light would not only test her skills as an event planner, but also awaken her heart in ways she never imagined. The next morning, Elena bundled up in her coat, scarf, and gloves, determined to explore Ardenley before diving into the gala preparations. The town square was alive with activity. The scent of roasted chestnuts mingled with cinnamon. Carolers filled the air with cheerful melodies, and children squealed in delight as they skated across the frozen fountain. Elena's notebook was tucked under her arm, half filled with sketches and ideas for decorations, while the other hand clutched a cup of steaming cocoa. She was crouched near a stall, inspecting handcrafted ornaments, when she felt a sudden bump. Cocoa sloshed over the edge, splattering on the snowy cobblestone. Looking up, she saw a young man, impeccably dressed in a tailored coat with brass buttons, looking equally startled. "I'm so sorry," Elena exclaimed, stepping back. "Nope, watch where you're going," he replied, his tone sharp but with a flicker of amusement in his eyes. Elena blinked, caught off guard by the formal cadence of his speech. "Excuse me?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. Never mind," he muttered, brushing off a snowflake from his sleeve. He glanced at her notebook and said with a raised eyebrow, "Interesting. Unconventional designs for a traditional festival." Elena frowned. "Unconventional? These are classic, ardently inspired decorations, just with a modern twist." The man's lips quirked and he straightened his posture. "Modern twist?" he repeated skeptically. "I'm Prince Nicholas, heir to the throne of Ardenley. And you are?" "Elena Rivera," she said, trying not to sound too flustered. "I'm here to organize the Christmas gala. I suppose we're on opposite sides of creative philosophy." Nicholas chuckled softly, a sound that made Elena's cheeks warm. "Opposite sides, indeed. You advocate for color and chaos. I appreciate tradition and order." Elena tilted her head, studying him. "And yet, here you are in the middle of a market, spilling cocoa and frowning at ornaments. Hypocrisy much?" He laughed, genuine and rich, though slightly embarrassed. "Touché." They wandered through the market together, their conversation a mixture of playful teasing and pointed critiques of each other's ideas. Elena found herself fascinated by how Nicholas seemed so human, despite the princely air he carried. And Nicholas, despite himself, was intrigued by her energy, her insight into traditions, and the way she could see both the beauty and the heart of Ardenley in her unorthodox ways. At the toy stall, Elena reached for a hand-carved sleigh ornament and accidentally knocked over a display. Nicholas caught it mid-fall. "You really are a walking disaster," he teased. "And you're a walking statue," she shot back. "Too stiff." "Lighten up, Your Highness." He laughed again, shaking his head. "Elena, you are different. I can't decide if that's dangerous or delightful." "Both," she replied, smiling, unable to hide the spark that had ignited between them. As they walked back toward the castle, snowflakes drifting lazily around them, neither wanted the moment to end. There was tension, curiosity, and the faintest hint of something neither of them could quite name. An undeniable connection that would only grow stronger in the days ahead. Even as they parted ways, Nicholas to his royal duties and Elena to her planning, the market seemed to glimmer a little brighter, as if Ardenley itself approved of the unlikely encounter. The castle's grand halls, which had seemed so magical from the outside, now felt overwhelming to Elena. Her event planner's instinct kicked in as she unfurled blueprints and sketches across a long mahogany table in the royal planning room. The walls were lined with portraits of past monarchs, their eyes seeming to scrutinize every decision she made. "Absolutely not," barked a sharp voice. Elena looked up to see Marguerite, the palace's longtime event coordinator, standing with her hands on her hips. Her pearl necklace gleamed under the chandelier, matching her disapproving glare. We do not allow such frivolities in a royal gala. This is ardently tradition, Miss Rivera. Elegant, sophisticated, predictable. Elena, refusing to be intimidated, leaned back in her chair. Predictable is boring. People remember events that touch their hearts, not just their eyes. Imagine the children's eyes lighting up when they see a Christmas tree that tells a story, not just a storybook image of royalty. Marguerite's lip curled. Story. Royal protocol does not include storytelling. From the doorway, a familiar voice called out. Maybe it should. Elena and Marguerite turned to see Prince Nicholas stepping in, his coat dusted with snow from an earlier ride through the courtyard. He smiled at Elena. I've been watching. And I agree with her. The gala should celebrate Ardenley's spirit, not just our image. Marguerite gasped. Your Highness, Nicholas waved a hand. I'm aware, thank you, but I'm also aware that this gala should be memorable for everyone in Ardenley, not just the court. Elena blinked, surprised and grateful. You actually mean that? Nicholas nodded, a spark in his eyes. I do. Now, let's make some magic. And so began the whirlwind of gala preparations. Elena ran around the castle, clipboard in hand, directing staff who were skeptical, nervous, or just plain set in their ways. She argued with florists about pine arrangements, debated ribbon colors with seamstresses, and even had to rescue a troupe of carolers who got lost in the maze-like corridors. Nicholas appeared often, sometimes offering a hand, sometimes offering moral support, and occasionally teasing Elena when a string of fairy lights refused to cooperate. At one point, he found her tangled in golden garlands, laughing so hard she nearly toppled into a fountain. You really are determined, he said, helping her untangle herself, and completely fearless. And you're hopelessly formal, she teased back, dodging his attempt to adjust a crooked scarf around her neck. Despite the chaos, late-night meetings in the candle-lit planning room became a ritual. They brainstormed themes, inspected decorations, and even sampled baked goods for the dessert table. Slowly, the walls between them fell away. Elena saw Nicholas not just as a prince, but as someone genuinely passionate about his people and willing to think outside the palace walls. Nicholas saw Elena's creativity, courage, and infectious humor. By the end of the week, the castle felt alive with anticipation. Ribbons, lights, and decorations adorned every hall. And yet, amidst all the glitter and snow, there was a quiet camaraderie growing between Elena and Nicholas. A bond built on shared vision, laughter, and the thrill of creating something extraordinary together. Even Marguerite, though grudgingly, began to soften as she watched the unlikely duo work in tandem, a subtle smile breaking her usual frown. But as the gala approached, whispers of palace politics and the Queen's looming expectations hinted that their journey would not be entirely smooth. The first sparks of romance had ignited, but so had the first embers of conflict. The days leading up to the gala were a whirlwind of preparations, yet somehow Elena and Nicholas found themselves carving out small moments just for the two of them. One chilly afternoon, after inspecting the ice sculptures for the grand entrance, Nicholas surprised Elena with a sleigh waiting outside the castle gates. You didn't tell me I'd be getting a personal tour of the kingdom, Elena said, her voice laced with amusement as she climbed aboard. Nicholas grinned. "I thought a walk through the snow might give you inspiration. And it's more fun than wandering the halls, debating ribbon shades, wrapped in warm blankets." The sleigh glided through the streets of Ardenley, the snow crunching under the horses' hooves. Lanterns cast a golden glow on the snow-dusted rooftops, and the town seemed to sparkle with magic. Children waved from the windows of their homes, and carolers' voices carried softly through the crisp winter air. Elena leaned back, sipping cocoa from the thermos Nicholas had brought along. "I never thought I'd see a Christmas like this," she said softly. "Back home, we do the usual. Lights, tree, maybe a snowball fight if we're lucky. But here, it's enchanting." Nicholas looked at her, his expression unusually thoughtful. "It can be lonely," he admitted, almost reluctantly. "People see the prince, the future king. They expect me to be formal, perfect, distant. They don't see me as me. And sometimes it feels like no one really knows what I want or what I enjoy." Elena's heart softened. "I get that. Back in my town, I was always the girl with too many ideas, the one who dreamed too much. People told me to be practical, to stay grounded. But I wanted to create experiences, moments that mattered. It's hard when the world only sees the job title or the outside appearance instead of who you are." Nicholas gave her a small smile, a flicker of relief in his eyes. "Sounds like we're both in the business of trying to be seen for who we really are." They rode in silence for a while, letting the gentle sway of the sleigh and the soft glow of lanterns fill the space between them. Every so often, their hands brushed against the blankets, sending little sparks of awareness through both of them. Later, they wandered through the town square again, stopping at a small stall selling handmade ornaments. Elena picked up a tiny wooden snowflake. "In my town, we'd make these with the kids," she said nostalgically. "It wasn't fancy, but everyone's laughter filled the room more than any decoration could." Nicholas reached for another ornament, a miniature sleigh. "I'd like to see more of that kind of Christmas. Not just grandeur, but warmth. I think you're showing me how their eyes met." And for a moment, the world seemed to shrink. Snowflakes clung to their hair, dusted their coats, and shimmered like tiny stars around them. Neither spoke, yet their hearts were already saying more than words ever could. Back at the castle, as they hung ornaments and decorated smaller trees for the palace children, the playful teasing returned. Nicholas would hide a bauble, only for Elena to retrieve it and toss it gently at him, laughing. She would correct his attempt at garland draping, and he would respond with mock indignation. But when the halls were quiet, when only the flicker of candlelight and the faint scent of pine remained, Elena caught glimpses of Nicholas's vulnerability, and he caught her sincerity and warmth. Their connection deepened, yet both were careful, guarding their feelings behind smiles, playful jabs, and shared responsibilities. Every evening, Elena would return to her quarters with rosy cheeks from the cold and a heart fluttering from moments that neither of them dared to name aloud. There was magic in Ardenley, yes, but more importantly, there was a magic between them, fragile and unspoken, waiting to be discovered. The castle, usually bustling with holiday cheer, seemed unusually quiet that afternoon. Elena was putting final touches on the centerpiece decorations for the gala, when the door to the planning room opened abruptly. There stood Queen Isabella, regal in emerald silk, her eyes sharp and assessing, every movement radiating authority. "Elena," she said, her tone polite but firm. "A word with my son." Elena froze, unsure whether she was being summoned or dismissed. Nicholas appeared behind the queen, his expression tense but resolute. "Mother, this isn't necessary." "On the contrary, Nicholas," Queen Isabella interrupted smoothly, "it is precisely necessary. I understand that Miss Rivera has captured your attention. That is concerning Elena's stomach twisted." She tried to smile politely. "Your Majesty, I assure you, I am merely here to help with the gala." Queen Isabella's gaze hardened. "I am well aware of your purpose, but influence works in subtle ways, Miss Rivera. Nicholas, your role as heir requires focus, dedication, and adherence to tradition. Distractions, no matter how charming, can be costly." Nicholas swallowed, feeling the weight of the crown he was destined to inherit pressing on his shoulders. "Mother, I appreciate your concern, but Elena has ideas that could truly bring joy to our people. The gala isn't just about ceremony, it's about connection, something I think our kingdom needs." Queen Isabella's eyes narrowed. "Connection is not built by frivolous notions or bending tradition. Miss Rivera, you must understand your place. Royal life is not a stage for personal dreams. It is duty. Nicholas must be prepared for the responsibilities he carries, not indulging in impulses." Elena's cheeks flushed, part anger, part frustration. She wanted to defend herself, to tell the queen that her intentions were pure, that she cared about the people and the kingdom. But something about Queen Isabella's imposing presence silenced her. After the queen left, Nicholas turned to Elena, his jaw tight. I don't know what to do," he admitted quietly, running a hand through his hair. "I care about you, Elena. More than I expected. But the crown, my duty, it's complicated. I can't let my mother see me faltering." Elena's eyes softened, but she refused to back down. "Nicholas, you're more than a title. You have a chance to do something beautiful with this gala, something that people will remember. Don't let fear, yours or hers, stop you from being yourself." Nicholas sighed, torn between his heart and his responsibilities. "I know. I wish things were simpler. I wish I could feel free to." He stopped, frustrated by the thought of his own desires clashing with the weight of tradition. Elena stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on his arm. "Sometimes the hardest choices are the ones that matter the most. But whatever you decide, Nicholas, don't lose sight of who you are or who you care about." Their eyes met, the tension between duty and desire hanging in the air. Neither spoke, but the silent understanding was powerful. Both wanted to bridge the gap between royal expectation and genuine connection, yet the path forward was uncertain. That evening, Nicholas wandered the castle halls alone, the echo of Queen Isabella's words lingering in his mind. He looked at the decorations Elena had placed, the warmth and charm she had brought to every corner of the palace, and felt a pang of longing. He realized he couldn't ignore his feelings, but he also couldn't dismiss the pressures of the crown. Meanwhile, Elena sat in her quarters, notebook open but untouched. She reflected on Nicholas's struggles, feeling both empathy and frustration. She knew their connection was real, yet the shadow of the Queen's disapproval loomed over every shared smile, every fleeting moment. The stakes were higher than either of them had anticipated. The gala, meant to bring joy, now held the potential to either unite their hearts or push them apart. The castle was alive with the hum of last-minute preparations. Elena moved from hall to hall, clipboard in hand, barking orders with her signature mix of authority and humor. Snowflakes drifted in through the large windows, dusting the polished floors and adding a magical sparkle to the grand halls. First came the frozen fountain. It had been an iconic centerpiece for Ardenley's Christmas gala, but overnight, the cold had turned it into a solid block of ice. Elena tried to chip away at it with a hammer, only to slip and almost tumble into the icy sculpture. Nicholas appeared out of nowhere, steadying her with a strong hand. "You're going to destroy it if you keep swinging like that," he said, amusement twinkling in his eyes. Elena grinned, brushing snow from her hair. "I'm just adding my personal touch." "What do you think?" Nicholas chuckled, shaking his head. "Maybe the palace staff should handle the ice, but I admire your determination." Next, a delivery of ornaments went missing. Elena had ordered hundreds of handcrafted pieces, and half were nowhere to be found. The palace staff panicked, muttering about curses and logistical nightmares. Elena's eyes narrowed. She wasn't about to let the gala falter. "Nicholas," she said, exasperated, "we need to find them. They're essential." Without hesitation, he joined her in the search, crawling through storage rooms and climbing precarious ladders. They laughed through the chaos, teasing each other about who was better at navigating the palace's labyrinthine corridors. When they finally uncovered the missing boxes behind a stack of tapestries, Nicholas gave her a triumphant grin. "See? Teamwork always wins," he said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. The misbehaving choir was the final challenge of the day. Hired from the village, the children were sweet but unruly. They sang too fast, skipped verses, and occasionally got distracted by the decorations. Elena was on the verge of pulling her hair out when Nicholas approached, his usual royal poise replaced by genuine empathy. "Why don't we let them lead us?" he suggested. "They'll sing how they want, and we can adjust around them. It'll feel authentic, more joyful." Elena hesitated, then smiled. "You know what? You might be right. Let's try it your way." By the time evening fell, the gala preparations were nearly complete. The halls glimmered with golden lights, snow-dusted garlands, and ornaments that reflected every candle's glow. A sense of accomplishment hung in the air, mingled with the faint scent of pine and freshly baked cookies. Nicholas lingered nearby, observing Elena as she checked lists and made final adjustments. There was something mesmerizing about her focus, the way she seemed to infuse life and personality into every corner of the castle. He felt a pang in his chest, a mixture of admiration and something deeper he wasn't ready to name. "Elena," he said softly, stepping closer, "you've done something incredible here. You've reminded me that Christmas, our traditions, aren't just about appearances. They're about joy, connection, and heart." Elena looked up, caught off guard by the intensity in his gaze. "I just wanted people to feel the magic," she replied quietly. "To feel happy." Nicholas hesitated, then reached out, brushing a hand over a stray strand of her hair. "You've done more than that. You've reminded me of why I love this kingdom, and why I want to be part of it in my own way." A comfortable silence settled between them. The castle shimmered around them, and for a moment, it felt like they were the only two people in Ardenley. though the Queen's watchful eyes still lingered somewhere in the background. Nicholas was beginning to realize that the rigid expectations placed upon him by tradition might not be as unchangeable as he had believed. The gala was still days away, but already, in the quiet moments between chaos and laughter, a subtle shift had taken place. Nicholas was beginning to see a future where duty and desire might coexist, and Elena was at the heart of it. The morning of the gala dawned bright and crisp, with frost glistening on the castle's windows. Elena moved through the halls with practiced efficiency, but something felt different. Nicholas hadn't checked in as usual, and the playful banter that had brightened their long nights of preparation was replaced by silence. She barely noticed the whispered conversations of the palace staff, until one remark, casually tossed by a jealous aide, pierced her like ice. "He's only letting you plan this gala to make the townspeople happy," the aide murmured slyly to another staffer, loud enough for Elena to catch. "You think he likes you? It's just for show, so the kingdom sees a modern, charming heir." Elena froze, her heart sinking. A cold weight spread through her chest. Could it be true? All the late-night decorating, all the sleigh rides, and secret conversations. Was Nicholas just putting on a performance? She tried to shake the thought, but doubt gnawed at her. That evening, when Nicholas appeared to discuss final details, she was curt and distant. "I can handle it," she said sharply, folding her arms. "You don't need to worry about me." Nicholas blinked, taken aback. "Elena, But she cut him off. "I'll finish the gala preparations on my own. I don't need anyone's approval or support." He ran a hand through his hair, frustration flashing in his eyes. "You're misunderstanding." "I'm not misunderstanding anything," she snapped. Then, realizing she'd raised her voice in the empty hall, softened slightly. I need to focus." Nicholas watched helplessly as she walked away, her determination shielding the vulnerability he longed to reach. He clenched his fists, a storm of confusion and regret raging inside him. He hadn't anticipated that palace gossip could have such an effect, or that Elena would doubt him so easily. Elena buried herself in work, arranging centerpieces, double-checking lighting, and rehearsing the choir schedule. Each task was a distraction from the ache in her heart, but the shadow of doubt lingered. Every ornament, every garland reminded her of Nicholas's smiles, now tainted by suspicion. Meanwhile, Nicholas sought answers, consulting with loyal staff members to find the source of the rumors. The aide who had spread the false suggestion remained smugly silent, clearly pleased with the disruption. Nicholas's frustration grew. He wandered through the castle, stopping at the grand staircase where Elena had been setting up candles. He watched her from a distance, noting the furrowed brow, the tense posture, the quiet resolve. His chest tightened. "Why did I let this happen?" he muttered under his breath. "I care about her, more than I realized." The gala loomed closer, its sparkle a stark contrast to the tension now clouding the castle halls. Nicholas knew he had to find a way to reach Elena before pride, misunderstanding, or the Queen's disapproval drove a permanent wedge between them. But as he approached her, Elena glanced up, meeting his eyes briefly, and then looked away. Hurt and mistrust shadowed her gaze, and Nicholas realized the battle ahead wasn't with palace protocol or public expectation. It was with her own heart and the walls she had built around it. That night, as snow fell softly over Ardenley, both of them lay awake, one wondering if the other truly cared, and the other realizing just how much she had come to mean to him. The castle chapel was quiet, bathed in the soft glow of lanterns and twinkling fairy lights. Snow swirled gently outside the tall stained glass windows, painting the stone floors with multicolored reflections. Elena knelt on a velvet cushion, stringing garlands along the pews, humming softly to herself. The familiar rush of holiday preparations had faded, replaced by a serene, almost sacred calm. Footsteps echoed softly on the stone floor. Elena looked up, startled, and found Nicholas standing at the entrance. His usual royal composure was gone, replaced by an earnest vulnerability that made her heart flutter. "Elena," he began, his voice low and trembling slightly. "I need to tell you something." "Something important." Elena paused, feeling a flutter of nerves. "Nicholas, No," he interrupted gently, stepping closer. "You need to hear this first. I don't care about appearances, the crown, or what anyone expects of me. I care about you. You, your heart, your energy, the way you see the world. It's real, and it's changed everything for me." Her breath caught. Every word, every look in his eyes, pierced the wall of doubt she had built around herself. "Nicholas, I thought maybe..." She hesitated, her voice soft. "I thought you were only playing a role for the public." He shook his head, taking her hands in his. "I swear to you, Elena, every moment I've spent with you, walking through the markets, planning the gala, decorating this castle, it's been real. I've never felt like this before. Not about anyone." Elena's eyes shimmered with tears, relief mingling with joy. "Nicholas, I feel the same. I've tried to deny it, tried to stay focused on work, but I can't. I've fallen for you." A hush fell over the chapel, the world outside melting into the soft snow and golden light. Nicholas leaned closer, brushing a lock of hair from her face, their foreheads nearly touching. The warmth between them was undeniable, a stark contrast to the chill of the winter evening. Slowly, as if the world had paused just for them, their lips met in a gentle, magical kiss. It was soft at first, tentative, but quickly deepened with the weight of unspoken feelings finally set free. The twinkling lights above reflected in their eyes, and the snow outside seemed to sparkle more brightly, as if celebrating their union. For a few moments, the castle, the palace staff, and even the looming pressures of tradition faded away. It was just Elena and Nicholas, two hearts finding each other amid the wonder of Christmas in Ardenley. When they finally pulled apart, Nicholas rested his forehead against hers. "I promise, nothing will come between us. Not duty, not expectations, not anything." Elena smiled, brushing away a tear, her heart full. "And I promise to stand by you, and maybe help you shake things up a little," she teased softly, earning a laugh from Nicholas that warmed the chilly chapel even more. As they held each other, the chapel seemed to glow with a quiet magic, a perfect prelude to the gala and the joy and challenges that awaited. In that moment, they both knew their hearts were aligned, ready to face whatever the kingdom or Queen Isabella might throw their way. The grand ballroom glittered with every shade of gold, silver, and crimson. Crystal chandeliers cast dancing reflections across the polished marble floors, while garlands of pine and holly twisted elegantly around every column. Snow fell softly outside the tall windows, framing the castle in a white, sparkling wonderland. Candles flickered in ornate holders, filling the air with a warm glow and the scent of cinnamon and pine. Guests arrived in their finest attire, murmuring in awe at the enchanting decorations. Every detail, from the hand-painted ornaments to the carefully curated festive music, bore the unmistakable stamp of Elena's vision. Even the once stuffy royal coordinator had to admit, begrudgingly, that the gala was flawless. Through the crowd, Elena moved with a mixture of pride and nervous excitement, adjusting a few last-minute touches and smoothing the folds of her gown. Nicholas appeared beside her, dressed in the regal but understated attire that suited him perfectly. He offered his hand. "Shall we?" he asked, a mischievous sparkle in his eyes. Elena took it, and together they entered the ballroom, hand in hand. A hush rippled through the crowd as eyes turned toward them. Nicholas's usual composed presence softened as he looked at Elena, and she felt a thrill of confidence and affection in his gaze. The queen sat at the head table, her expression carefully neutral, but her sharp eyes missed nothing. She observed the way the couple moved together, the easy grace of their gestures, the laughter that flowed naturally between them. Despite her initial skepticism, she could not deny the joy that radiated from Elena and Nicholas, a light that seemed to touch the entire room. As the evening progressed, Elena found herself floating through the gala, surrounded by compliments and admiration. Guests commented on her unique touch, the cozy corners for conversation, the little gifts for the children, the intricate ice sculptures, and the heartfelt warmth woven into every detail. Nicholas stayed close, introducing her to dignitaries and villagers alike, proud of her brilliance and the genuine magic she had brought to Ardenley. In a quiet moment, Nicholas led Elena to the balcony overlooking the snow-dusted village square. The twinkling lights of the market mirrored the stars above. "You did this," he said softly, his arm around her waist. "Every bit of it. And you've made everyone, my kingdom, feel it too. You've reminded me what this season is truly about." Elena leaned into him, her heart full. "I just wanted people to feel joy, and maybe see that even in a palace, there's room for heart." Nicholas turned her gently to face him. "You've given me that, Elena. And more. I've never felt so..." Alive, the queen, watching from the doorway, allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. Her son's happiness was undeniable, and the way Elena brought warmth and life to the castle, even to her austere halls, was impressive. She still had reservations, but even she couldn't suppress a small, approving nod. Back inside, the gala continued, filled with laughter, music, and dancing. Elena and Nicholas shared private smiles across the room, their chemistry undeniable, their connection visible to all without a word. Whispers spread among the guests. This was no ordinary gala. This was a celebration of love, joy, and Christmas magic, guided by Elena's vision and Nicholas's growing courage to follow his heart. By the end of the night, the gala had become a perfect blend of tradition and heart, leaving the kingdom enchanted, and in every glance exchanged, in every quiet moment stolen amidst the revelry, Elena and Nicholas knew that their bond had grown stronger, unshakable, and ready to face whatever challenges awaited. The grand ballroom hummed with excitement as the gala reached its peak. Guests danced under glittering chandeliers, laughter mingling with the sweet notes of the live orchestra. Nicholas stepped onto the raised platform, the room gradually quieting as all eyes turned toward him. He took a deep breath, scanning the faces before him, the townspeople, nobles, and dignitaries, and then found Elena in the crowd. Her eyes met his, and he felt a surge of courage. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice strong yet warm, "this year we celebrate Christmas in a way Ardenley has never seen before. Inspired by someone very special." He gestured toward Elena, whose cheeks flushed at the attention. "Elena Rivera has reminded me, and all of us, that the true spirit of this season isn't measured by pomp, protocol, or grandeur. It's measured by love, kindness, and the joy we share with each other." The crowd erupted in applause. Nicholas smiled at Elena, stepping closer. "From now on, our holiday traditions will include everyone in our kingdom. From the smallest child in the village to the tallest guest in the palace, everyone will feel welcome in our celebrations. And I have Elena to thank for showing me how Elena, touched beyond words, felt her heart swell. She had always dreamed of creating meaningful experiences, but never imagined that her ideas would touch an entire kingdom, or the prince himself." Queen Isabella watched quietly from the side, her regal expression softening with each word. She had feared that Elena might distract her son or disrupt centuries of tradition, yet here she stood, seeing firsthand the happiness and warmth the couple radiated, not just for each other, but for Ardenley. Nicholas continued, bowing slightly in Elena's direction. "Elena, you may not be of royal birth, but you have shown a nobility of heart that surpasses any title. You have my admiration, my gratitude, and, most importantly, my love." The queen finally stepped forward, her high heels clicking against the polished floor. She approached Elena, whose nerves flared for a moment. But then the queen smiled, a genuine, approving smile. "Elena," she said, her voice steady but warm, "you've brought something to this palace that I've never seen before. Joy, courage, and love. Ardenley is better for having you here. And Nicholas, you are wise to recognize that." Elena bowed her head respectfully, feeling a wave of relief and happiness. "Thank you, Your Majesty," she replied softly. "It means more than I can say." Nicholas took her hand, holding it tightly as the queen stepped back. The crowd cheered once more, witnessing the moment of reconciliation and acceptance. That night, the palace was filled with laughter, music, and dancing. But beneath the festive glow, a quieter magic lingered. The quiet, steadfast love between Elena and Nicholas, now fully recognized and embraced. The queen's approval, though unexpected, signified that their bond had weathered scrutiny, tradition, and doubt, and had emerged stronger, ready to shape the future of Ardenley's Christmas celebrations. Elena smiled at Nicholas, who leaned in, whispering, "We did it, together. And we have so much more to celebrate," she whispered back, feeling that this Christmas was just the beginning of their story. The first rays of sunlight filtered through the tall castle windows, illuminating the frosted halls with a soft, golden glow. Outside, snowflakes drifted lazily from the sky, blanketing the Ardenley courtyard in a pure, sparkling white. The castle was quiet, save for the soft creak of the floorboards, as Elena padded down the hallway in her cozy slippers. Nicholas awaited her in the private sitting room, a small, carefully wrapped package in his hands. His usual royal composure softened into a nervous, excited smile. "Merry Christmas, Elena," he said, bowing slightly in jest, though his eyes betrayed the depth of his feeling. Elena grinned, her heart fluttering. "Merry Christmas, Nicholas," she replied, handing him a small wooden box tied with a red ribbon. "I made this for you." Nicholas opened it carefully, revealing a delicate ornament, hand-painted and etched with tiny snowflakes, a miniature Ardenley castle at its center. His eyes softened as he lifted it. "It's beautiful, just like you." Blushing, Elena added, "Every year, I want you to remember this Christmas, and that even in the grandest palace, the smallest things can hold the most meaning." Nicholas's turn came. He handed her a velvet box, opening it to reveal a gleaming royal medallion engraved with the kingdom's crest. "For you," he said, "to show that no matter the crown or the tradition, my heart belongs to you." Tears glistened in Elena's eyes as she accepted the gift. "It's perfect," she whispered, feeling the warmth of love, trust, and belonging in every gesture. They embraced, the world outside fading to a quiet hush, the only sounds the soft patter of snow and the gentle beating of hearts in harmony. Holiday cheer. Nicholas and Elena stepped outside together, hand in hand, greeted by the joyful cries of children and the warm applause of the villagers. "Good morning, Ardenley," Nicholas called, his voice carrying across the snow-dusted square. "Merry Christmas to all." Elena waved, her laughter mingling with the delighted cheers of the crowd. Together, they joined in the festivities, building snowmen with children, sharing warm treats, and delivering heartfelt wishes to the townspeople. The magic of Christmas, love, and community wove through every moment, transforming the palace into a place where tradition and heart coexisted beautifully. As snowflakes settled on their shoulders and laughter echoed through the castle grounds, Elena looked up at Nicholas, her eyes shining. "This is the best Christmas ever," she said softly. Nicholas kissed her forehead gently. "And it's only the beginning," he replied. The kingdom of Ardenley had witnessed a love that bridged worlds, royalty and heart, duty and desire, tradition and joy. And on this Christmas morning, under the magic of falling snow, Elena and Nicholas knew that together they would face the future with courage, love, and endless holiday spirit. The castle courtyard glowed under thousands of twinkling lights. A gentle snowfall drifted down, dusting the cobblestones in sparkling white. At the center stood the towering Christmas tree, decorated with golden ornaments, shimmering ribbons, and candles that flickered like tiny stars. Nicholas and Elena stepped forward together, hand in hand, their faces lit with joy and anticipation. The townspeople and palace staff had gathered, their smiles reflecting the warmth of the season and the love that now radiated from the couple. Children laughed as they tossed snowballs playfully, while elders looked on with approval, delighted by the spirit Elena had brought to Ardenley. Nicholas turned to Elena, his eyes soft and full of wonder. "Elena, my partner, my heart, will you continue this journey with me?" Elena's smile was radiant, her heart soaring. "Always, Nicholas." Together, the crowd erupted in cheers as Nicholas leaned in, capturing Elena in a tender, lingering kiss beneath the giant Christmas tree. Snowflakes danced around them, catching the light like tiny diamonds as the music of the gala swelled softly in the background. Queen Isabella, standing nearby, finally allowed herself a proud smile. She had seen love's true power, how it could bridge worlds, soften hearts, and transform even the grandest palace into a home. The townspeople waved, clapped, and shouted their congratulations, and Elena felt the warmth of belonging wash over her. In that moment, She wasn't just an event planner from Philadelphia. She was a part of Ardently, a catalyst for joy, and the heart of a kingdom now united in love and holiday spirit. As Nicholas and Elena stepped back to take in the scene together, the Christmas tree sparkled brighter than ever, the snow continued to fall softly, and the castle bells rang out in harmonious celebration. And so, Ardently's new Christmas tradition was born, one that celebrated not just the season, but the magic of love, courage, and the joy of sharing life with someone who truly completes you. Under the twinkling lights, surrounded by laughter and cheer, Nicholas and Elena embraced, their hearts intertwined, knowing that love had finally found its rightful crown.
The Stories book is a captivating collection of tales that traverse diverse genres and emotions, spanning the realms of fantasy, science fiction, romance, and mystery. Each narrative is a journey into the unexpected, weaving intricate plots and compelling characters. With a skillful blend of vivid imagery and thought-provoking themes, this anthology invites readers to explore the depths of imagination and discover the universal threads that connect us all. From heartwarming moments to spine, we hope you enjoyed these captivating video stories. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming content like this. Thanks for watching, and keep spreading the video story.